Now that we've met the unholy trinity and the supporting cast, it's time to meet the ones the palace never accounts for. The ones born into the image-based kingdom, but not of it. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Goshen Crew. These are the ones God hides in plain sight. The Elihus and the Deborahs, the unexpected truth tellers who somehow slipped through the generational indoctrination program without being groomed into image over integrity. But before we get into their behaviour, let's talk about the outfit. Wardrobe crew never needed to take long with this one, to be fair. A simple black hoodie, plain, unbothered, no sequins, no theatrics, no curated sparkle, just Goshen Crew, stamped quietly across the chest like divine understatement. While the rest of the palace is glammed up in optical illusions, the golden calf dripping in gold, the gatekeeper in her detective trench, the rogue performer in full cheerleader uniform, the Goshen Crew show up in jeans, trainers and truth. They don't blend in, they don't match the aesthetic, they look like a blatant misfit in the family photo. And that's exactly the point. Truth doesn't need costume design, truth doesn't need an entourage. Truth stands alone, hoodie and all, and nothing irritates an image-based kingdom more than someone who refuses to dress for delusion. You know the type, too discerning to be deluded, too honest to be bribed, too spiritually awake to participate in the family's PR. They love their people, don't get me wrong, but they refuse to lie for them because God will always save a remnant. Okay, so you might be asking, why Goshen? Remember Exodus? While Pharaoh was going toe-to-toe with God, refusing every divine instruction Moses delivered. Like a gatekeeper with a permanent attitude problem, the entire nation was plunged into darkness. But scripture said there was light in Goshen, because Goshen is where God puts his people, the ones marked by truth, the ones who will not bow to Pharaoh's image-based decrees, the ones who carry light even when the kingdom around them has chosen delusion. These are the ones who grow up in dysfunction but don't become the dysfunction. In Egypt, but raised in the mentality of Canaan. Present at the family gatherings but spiritually exempt from the foolishness. They are often the ones who quietly stop showing up at Christmas, Thanksgiving, christenings, and cousins' barbecues because their spirit refuses to pretend that bondage is fellowship. They're God's insurance policy, the embodiment of fresh mercy every morning, the ones protected because heaven knows someone in that lineage needs to be a historian of truth. And yes, the palace is terrified of them because truth disrupts choreography and you cannot rehearse your way out of conviction. Let's have a quick theological tea break. At the end of this life, we will all stand before the pearly gates like Oliver Twist, empty bowl in hand, more please. And God, merciful and just, will simply say, account for every word you spoke. Mic drop. This is why the Goshen Crew exist, to remind the entire kingdom that no matter the image, no matter the storyline, no matter the spin, truth has a longer lifespan than performance. And not only that, God is merciful and wants to see all humanity enter through the pearly gates. So this is why he is just enough to leave a remnant even in the image-based kingdom. And now for the question. Do you know them? You know, the ones you bump into in aisle 3 at Sainsbury's on their way to their Specsavers appointment. Not because they can't see, but because they've just been gaslit into oblivion by the gatekeeper and want to double check their vision is still intact. You know, faith without works is dead after all. They are the ones that hug you warm, no performance, no posing, just that steady Goshen truth, where they say, I knew the truth would outlive the noise. So welcome to the Goshen Crew. Welcome to Is It Me? And that completes day 7 of the image-based kingdom.